Welcome back, everybody. It's time for our second match of the day. It is between DRX versus EG. I'm Yingsu, and I've got Mimi with me. And HyperX, thanks for leaving your rugby match early here to join us.
I thought you were going to go with a 100 Thieves joke, actually.
Oh, I should have.
100 Thieves is a noted rugby team.
They don't deserve it, to be fair. What? Yeah, the joke. Anyway, but you look great,
Mike. To be here,
That's
I guess.
messed up.
Yeah.
Can't say that.
How you doing? You know, we don't get to see you on the desk very often. You excited?
Yeah, well, you've wheeled me out once in the MEA, and obviously we're going to do it early on now.
Yeah. Mimi, how concerned are you about the tech pauses we're about to get? Because
Don't start this already.
Move on, move on.
Lauren's not in the building.
It is actually you. We confirmed it. But anyway, let's talk about Evil Geniuses to start with, because after their debut game here at Tokyo yesterday, Mimi, I think even the people that doubted them maybe a little bit can't really doubt them now.
I don't know if people are going to fully stop doubting yet, because you can still say that it was Foot that they played against, but the win they got was dominant. They came in, I think, showed some really good prep against Foot, and also kind of showed us two sides. One where they can have the preparation, have a clean game, and one where if their initial game plan doesn't work, they can win in the scrap.
Yeah, I felt this game felt as if it was very prep-oriented, right? And actually, it's a huge benefit. I mean, regionally, obviously, we see step-ups from other members of this roster, but D1, slow adjustment here. At day one, it wasn't what we've seen in the last few weeks in Americas. Obviously, that's been the headline for this team, but the fact that actually they were able to pick up the slack, yes, Boostio maybe picking up the slack more so than others, but again, that for me is a huge positive to see.
But the question is if they can continue that preparation against DRX, because that really is the team's strength, right? They knew where players for Foot were going to be early, we're punishing with those double satchels, we're re-pushing in the mid-round to find a lot of stuff that are Foot's tendencies, and I think DRX is another team that has a lot of clear tendencies. Maybe EG could punish again.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Demon 1, because I actually had the opportunity to catch up with him earlier when EG arrived at the venue. Oh, here he is, Demon 1. Come join me for a second. Congratulations, first of all, on your win yesterday. But how big of a challenge do you think is going to be today to go up against one of the most experienced teams in the world?
It should be interesting, but I think we have a good chance. We've been improving every day, so I think we're going to be up against them, and I think we have a good chance.
You're going to win?
Of course.
I like it. I like it. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you in a bit. I know he has to say that, but HyperX,
it's an obligation.
Yeah, but I feel like they have a good chance.
I think they really do. I mean, DRX struggled on a lot of fronts that actually if EG get back on the page they were towards the end of the American stage, then I actually feel like this leans heavily in their favor. Like, I'm looking at this as coming in as, can DRX actually stop EG in terms of getting back onto the form that we've become very used to recently?
Yeah, can they stop Boostio, Mimi?
Yeah.
He was crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing. We thought that their game was going to be defined by Demon 1, right? Oh, he came at the last second. He's going to be fantastic because he was in Americas. But really, it was their IGL stepping up in this one. He had a life game, it seemed, against Foot. And it's rare you see the kind of Boostio star games come back. But he used to be the chamber player for this team last year. And he is incredible. But sometimes he just has a game like this.
Yeah, and he's been putting up numbers against Foot. I do think that the fact that he could do that on Lotus, Mike, of all maps is really, really impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Foot have... I mean, they've been very dominant on this map, and that for me was the swing factor of that veto, but Foot kind of got away with murder in terms of the EMEA and teams not really adjusting to how they've approached this map. EG bought the game plan here, and you could tell it was studied, it was targeted actually in the way that they played.
It worked so well for them. And I think another thing you notice when Boostio is playing so well, and throughout that entire game, is that EG have just maintained this mentality of just being so chill. You can see in their player reacts, they're always having fun, popping off, smiling, just like yelling for their teammates. It's the energy that got them the run in Americas to qualify to Tokyo, getting that second chance from MIBR winning. And it seems like they've kept that mentality so successfully into the international event as well.
Yeah, and the fans are loving it as well. And as you guys saw yesterday, the fans are also loving Buzz. I want to do a quick Boostio versus Buzz here. Obviously, similar agents as well. And Mike, we're going to show the clip in a second here, but this is also a pretty big matchup.
It is, yeah. I mean, Buzz is somebody I think has been one of the most consistent members for DRX historically. And again, yesterday, no real surprises in terms of the gameplay. There are lots of things about DRX, I guess, that concerned overall. Obviously, the first blood and first deaths was the main thing that stood out there. But DRX's ability to recover actually kind of pivots around Buzz in particular, the way that he's able to still have impact when they are playing at a disadvantage.
And especially when they are playing with Foxy9. Buzz is the guy who has to do a lot of the flexing. It's him and RB as well, who have to pivot over, play a very different role. And Buzz does so well, whether he's on that Star Duelist or whether he's on the Killjoy. He's providing that consistency for DRX that you're talking about.
This was ridiculous, by the way. This gave me goosebumps as well. You know, Buzz, normally, you don't see him as one of the guys that stands up or BMs or anything. It feels like Stack sort of takes the brunt of that. But after he did this yesterday, the entire arena, Mimi, it just erupted.
It was insane. I mean, that's what's so good about DRX. They have this experience on stage that anyone will just step up and give you one of these moments.
Mike, are you worried, though, that DRX, they have to rely on maybe some of these massive moments in order to win?
I'm not really. There was a period where we were talking about RB being the one to be, underperforming on the duelist role historically, and I think actually you can characterize this the same way with Foxy9. I don't want to say underperforming, but maybe not putting up numbers that you would hope for DRX. Historically, they've always had that recovery factor. There were so many events where we're talking about RB's got to step up. Somebody's got to get him online. DRX always had the ability to still deliver international events, even with RB being kind of the weakest link, let's say. So even here with Foxy9, maybe not firing on all cylinders, I still have faith that DRX can deliver.
I'm glad you mentioned Foxy9 because we can confirm he will be playing again today. And this is what he had to say about his debut here on the international stage yesterday. Foxy9, come join me for a second. First of all, it was really nice to see you play on stage yesterday, your first time internationally. What was that like? Jen's going to help me translate this.
어제 소감이 첫 경기.
이제 굉장히 아쉽긴 했지만은 오늘 이겨서 기분은 좋은데 좀 아쉬웠어서 오늘 더 잘할 겁니다.
Well, I could have performed better, but I'm glad that I was able to pick up my first win on the international stage, but I'm going to do better today.
Time to get your second, Foxy9. Good luck, good luck. He wasn't satisfied with his performance, which I think is leading into what you were saying.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, though, to just come back to the same point, DRX yesterday were converting like 70% of their 4v5 rounds. And I think even beyond that, 3v5s, they were converting like 65% of them. So DRX still demonstrating they have that roster outside of just their main duelist, whoever it be. Obviously, historically, I'm referring to RB, but here, DRX are still ticking the box in terms of what has been their win factor.
And I think yesterday, that was their game to get Foxy comfortable, to get the team used to the international stage again. Kind of a warm-up for them, because I think everyone expected them to be a weaker opponent, and they did put up a stronger fight than we maybe would have expected going in. But that still was just kind of DRX's opportunity to get going in the groups. Normally, they're so dominant here. I think EG today is going to be much tougher.
Yeah, that's going to be a really interesting matchup. Ben Kai, though, said yesterday, even after the 2-0 against ASE, he was not satisfied quite just yet. I think maybe similar to what you were saying about EG. He can't say just yet whether this DRX has what it takes to win the entire tournament. But surely, Mimi, if they beat EG today and convincingly, we can start believing.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that question for DRX. If it's like, when can we believe that they're going to actually make a run, actually win a tournament? And I agree, I'm not seeing it yet. And I do think that Foxy9 is the right direction. They played him for the first time yesterday and play him again today. I think what is important for him isn't necessarily being a huge fragger, being insane individually. We do hope that he'll have these moments, but it's more about being a part of the system and setting him up for success. DRX's game plan was so much about getting these side executes, playing these set post plans, and Foxy9 is really willing to take the risks to give them the space they need to act on that game plan.
Yeah, for sure. I think as well, this is a historical thing. DRX have dealt with obviously floating in and out a sixth player, so it's not necessarily anything new to them. I'm just concerned about the consistency. We talk about DRX making runs, yes. We're going to talk about, is this the event where DRX are going to, actually make a push towards the grand finals, but it doesn't feel comfortable. It still doesn't. And again, we have another example of an opening series where it didn't feel characteristic of the good DRX yesterday. Yes, they came out with a win, sure, but it didn't feel like the good DRX.
Expectations are just so high.
They are.
For
They
this
absolutely
team
are.
That even after some of the stuff we saw yesterday, Mimi, we still have questions. But let's look at some of the things we saw yesterday. Because even though it wasn't like peak DRX, Mimi, it's still DRX.
Yeah, it was still solid. So much of what they were playing yesterday was just built around rounds like this. Okay, we're set up to have Foxy9 dash in, dedicate to the post plant, and then just play the lineups, play off-site. They knew that ASE wasn't really going to be a team who could super much test them in these retakes, and so they they never had to adapt their game plan. They really stuck to this same idea on their attacking side, and it just kept working. So that's why I'm saying, well, it looked good yesterday. That's not really a benchmark for me that I can set for the rest of the tournament for DRX.
No, and I guess the concern being, if you kind of to look at it stylistically, if Demon One has a life game, like obviously Life did yesterday, then that is a concern, because I think EG have actually got the macro element tied down, the prep factor, to actually make that a little bit more interesting. Test DRX's game plan.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they can test that a little bit more. But for DRX, I think the biggest question is, are they just going to be a team who has a one-dimensional game plan, or were we only seeing that because they had an opponent that wasn't testing them?
Yes.
And that's what we're going to find out today.
If they did bring that out, is it enough to beat EG?
I don't think so. EG's looked so good. They're very adaptable, and they're great at counter-stratting. If you're predictable against them, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. Yeah, I feel like obviously veto dependent. This is an EG win.
Oh, okay, Mike. I don't think you're allowed to say that, but
I'm
it's okay.
calling it early.
Well, we'll see, because this is it, an opportunity for one of these teams to be the first team to make it out of groups here at Masters Tokyo. I can't wait to see which one it's going to be, and it's time to bring the teams back out on this stage. It is DRX and Evil Geniuses. On one side, and then the Miracle team from Americas on the other, guys. What would it be? How great would it be, even Mimi, if EG are the first team to make it out of groups at a Masters event?
People keep questioning EG. They're not going to make it out of groups in Americas. They're not going to make a deep run in the playoffs. They're not going to qualify to Tokyo. They're here now. They've had their first win. People are still doubting them. But if they can beat DRX, the Goliath of the group stage, the team that consistently makes it out, consistently makes it top 4, no one else can doubt this team.
Absolutely. I think it's a really good indicator as well. They come out and perform with the same sort of composure that we saw yesterday, even when things aren't necessarily going their way. You know, Demon One not delivering the same sort of explosive performance that we've been used to recently. I think that would be the best possible indicator to come out of this series.
And for DRX, this is your chance to show that this system with Foxy9 is the one that you want to pursue for the rest of this tournament. That this isn't a weakened DRX. That what was happening back in Pacific was just a one-off, and that they will still be that team that is so consistent internationally.
Yeah, and before we head into map vetoes, the interesting thing is both teams played 4 different maps. So Fracture and Pearl on one side and Split and Lotus. Where do you think it's going to go today? Do we see any crossovers of those 4 maps?
I had a very interesting conversation with Potter last night for quite some time, and she's feeling pretty confident about obviously the top half of their map pool, but feeling like this might align slightly. I don't feel like there's a weak side of DRX pool outside of the permaban.
Yeah, let's have a look at the map vetoes as we go. Mimi, EG, are they going to take the bind away again?
I was really surprised they took bind away last time, but they're actually going to continue it. So it seems to be their perma for this tournament. But talk of permas, DRX keeps getting rid of Lotus, and it's the low end of EG's pool. So I think that helps them. And it also leaves open their Fracture, which they will pick, and DRX didn't look great on yesterday.
Didn't look fantastic, no. I think that's a big opportunity for EG to start strong on this. Second map Ascent coming through. Actually, again, this is one that probably leans towards DRX as well. Again, EG have had fantastic results regionally on this, but that one historically, I feel like probably favors DRX.
This is where I thought they were going to pick yesterday, Mimi, so I'm glad they picked it today.
Yeah, it's always been a good map for DRX. They're so consistent there. Even in their loss to HyperX, that was still one of the maps that they ended up taking over them. And we land on Pearl, which would be super cool. Both these teams playing that Harbor Viper meta, and I think both of them are so good at it.
Yeah, DRX the first to really really done it, but I feel like Pearl has been their weakest application of it. Obviously, with Icebox slipping out of the map pool now, Pearl isn't the one you go to look at DRX doing Harbor well.
But to start this series off on Fracture, this is a little bit concerning for me for DRX, because like we said, they looked weak last time, and as you can see, EG's locking in their Sova, which has been so good in Americas.
Yeah, as you guys also can see on the Prime Gaming Agent Select, we've seen DRX play already. Mike, of course, they're not going to really change anything up, but what do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I don't think DRX are going to stray massively from this. Again, other events, I think we've seen DRX maybe take things a little bit slower, maybe sandbagging a little bit. Now's the time to pull it out, to be honest with you. Against EG, or again, something, or a team that potentially has a lot of momentum coming into this event, pull out all the stops in my book.
Absolutely. On the side of EG, though, you can see 100% pick rate on this map. They've won it 71% of the time in Americas. The things to look out for in this composition on this defensive side is Combs cross-map darts. He has so many different lineups to allow Jojimo to contact up and take space off his utility. And when they get that Sovalt online, they have a lot of preset plays as well that are really hard to contend with. Most teams, you're not going to be used to shooting a Sova dart on this map.
No, it's not. It's one of those little quirky picks that just, forces the early round protocols to adjust, obviously, to be ready for these sorts of things. And actually the mid-rounding as well. When that utility comes back down off cooldown, you do have a second wave to use something that's not necessarily expected by most teams.
And it's the duelist against this composition with the Sova. It's going to be a huge test for Foxy9. He's facing against another highly awaited rookie in Demon 1 in this match.
Yeah, and let's not forget Mako saving their asses yesterday. I mean, it was a 13-10 Mimi, as you remember. It could have been a loss for DRX on that map. So I wonder if EG, with the preparation of Potter, are going to try and stop Mako with a post plant, pushing him, and stop DRX's biggest win condition.
One thing they do a lot on this map is using that dart to get early south side control and then re-flanking the post plant, which can be pretty effective against teams who play like DRX.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, too, Fracture not been the best map for DRX at all, but Mike, we can't ignore the experience diff. These DRX boys, they're known as the group stage demons for a reason.
Absolutely, and again, not to harp on to Foxy9, but I think he becomes kind of the key playmaker for DRX in this composition on this map. We know how pivotal that role is. Again, I think it's an interesting discussion about the post-plant strength as well. That's something that's really going to test, or I guess visibly test, the preparation factor of EG.
It absolutely will. For the side of DRX, though, this is also a test not just of what they can prepare against EG, but how much they can adapt within these compositions. What is the secondary game plan? When the post plants fail, what do you go to next?
Well, I cannot wait to see what we're going to get here. It's time to jump into Fractures. We've got Brandon Sideshow on the mic. Over to you guys.
Thank you very much. Lovely setup for this match right here. Whoa, fast zooming, but we're getting into it now. This match deciding the top 8 heading into deeper and deeper with Masters Tokyo as well. And Evil Genius is a team that, listen, when we were talking about the Americas playoffs, they weren't even expecting to make it there. It was out of their hands, but they are definitely a team that have forged their way. They earned their spot to Tokyo now and are up against the group stage demons that is DRX.
And you hear the desk talking as if EG are now favorites to make playoffs in Masters Tokyo. So yeah, going from a miracle to something that's commonplace, expected, that's what EG have been doing recently, is earning that kind of respect. And what a battle this is going to be. Potter versus Termi, we'll check back in with that when we get some timeouts later on. But here we go into a pistol round. And already take a look at the minimap, because it looks to me like EG are going to north side crunch. And there are 3 DRX players waiting to receive this. To me, Bren, this looks like there's going to be a lot of pressure on Boostio and Demon 1.
Absolutely. If EG have done their homework, they're going to know as well. DRX were trending towards this B split over and over again. They send out a util, a flash and a horn over the top. No one playing anti-flash though. Does tag onto them. It clears them all the way back. Nade into the top of the tower. We swarm the B site.
And so this is fine. You just go into your secondary game plan for EG. They're going to drop back, control the generator areas, and have the players that would dish take Arcade away as a post-plant position. The important post-plant spots, though, are where Mako is going to be playing with his Molly lineup.
Let's see this refight here that's happening over towards Arcade again. The back of the box should be cleared out. No! The boombot was flashed up, still at the back side of it. There's the damage being done. Right through the box. Aftershock as well now into tower. Really starting to feel that heat. Stacks had to hold his ground, and he does not win it out. The Molly's forced out relatively early, but still the time is ticking. That's going to put the pressure once more onto them, but Demon 1 landing so many of these shots, running it down into The Molly didn't want to risk too much there. Listen.
I mean, there was no reason particularly to give your life to that, but I can appreciate getting caught up in the moment.
Sound cues get lost a little bit on the big stage.
Yeah,
like, wait, how much time do we actually have?
Exactly. But Demon 1 online there with the last couple of kills. See how precise his aim is. Not a player that actually was that important in their win over Foot.
Yeah,
as strange as that sounds, because the hype surrounding him playing at this tournament, after we all thought he might miss it, was enormous.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, we were talking to death about him. Over and over again, for good reason, the guy pops off, but it wasn't even necessary for them to get that 2-0 win.
And that's scary.
That's
a scary situation.
Frightening prospect, isn't it?
Especially when they were winning on Foot's map pick of Lotus, which isn't going to feature in this series because DRX do not want any piece of that map at any point.
Yeah.
And so, actually, we've got an awesome map pool for this match, where you get to see, I think, both of these teams at the absolute peak of what they can accomplish. Both teams like playing Fracture. You know, we've been cognizant of DRX with their roster swapping up, not being as great on this map sometimes.
Over the ropes. You're not getting away from that one, Buzz. But you're exactly right as well, Josh. Backdoor strength. In theory, we should have an absolute world-class match here. Both of these teams fighting for that chance to make a playoff spot in the top 8 of Masters Tokyo.
And you think about this for EG, obviously we've discussed how incredible it would be for them to make top 8 and make playoffs, especially with, you know, Demon 1's first time at an event of this caliber, and to be honest, a lot of EG's first time at an event of this caliber. And I think for DRX, it's one of those series that changes the narrative. It's a pivot point, where if they win this game, people are going to assume that it's back to DRX being on track. They 2-0 out of the groups. Okay, they can make a serious run of it in playoffs. If they lose here, I think people start to, you know, really take seriously the warning signs that we've seen from DRX of whether or not they might be entering a slump period.
There's been rumors swirling around this DRX team about their form heading into the event as well. You can just see it as well, just in terms of the rosters they've been fielding. It's been back and forth. Stack's feeling particularly stressed, but here's a fight that's about to occur on the south side of the map. Not too many players to receive it. Buzz is going to have to play this one a bit safer because 4 players are walking towards him. Turret takes contact, fault line off of it, and now running all the way through. Dart, have to be ready for this one, Buzz. Close to the ropes, it's a wider swing with an A-Porson and back. Showstopper over and away, down across the zip line. Buzz wants nothing to do with it, but Mako is being squeezed. How can he survive? Can he maintain? He can!
So good. Incredible work under pressure there from Mako. I love the idea from EG on the bonus round, but Jorgamo with 60 health has got to do it all.
Whoa, okay.
And he's brought it back just a little.
And he's aware as well of this. Potentially hearing the sound cue. He's caught Buzz out and he's forced it into a 1-versus-1 nade online. Lands the shot anyway. 4 in the round. It matters not. For the heroics of Mako, what he was doing on the south side of that map.
One good play deserves another.
Yeah.
Jorgamo coming out and responding. That's a fantastic clutch there. A 1v3 where he was incredibly aware of Buzz coming through tunnel. That to me is the most impressive kill out of all of them.
I'm assuming he heard the specific sound cue there. I mean, when players are running through tunnel, it does make a little squelching sound. You know, you can spot it out, you can hear it.
Normally those kind of sound cues do get lost.
They get lost, right? But no, so aware.
That is extremely impressive. Now DRX, with their light armor, are still going to be able to buy into this round. They have Mako's Orbital Strike online because he got 4 kills. They're going for the B exec again. I mean, it's the same kind of thing that we've seen from them in 3 out of 4 rounds now.
They were doing this a lot as well against ASC the other day.
And when they used to do this exec, they would run a neon with it. So they would start the exec from about where Foxy9 is, right here.
Flash to set it up. Demon 1 still holding it though.
And now that you don't have the neon, you have to actually take that arcade space, as Foxy was trying to do with the breach flash. It's a little more difficult.
Look in his face, no Prowler. Won't be getting info off of that one inside the smoke is Boostio. He's waiting for the right time to strike, but there's a Nanoswarm at his feet. Has to back away, a bit of random spam. Maybe he can get quite lucky with it, but he'll be backing away. They don't want to give away any lives. Oh my, I mean the Nanoswarms. Stacks getting caught out there, brought down to his knees. It's a 3-versus-5. Mako pushing forwards. He's trying to equalize. Take away the advantage that might be theirs. Still holding on to canteen control. The regression from Gorm.
What a wide swing.
Really wide swing, and they don't have B main position either. Buzz and RB anchoring towards the side. They have to really just come up with something massive and potential. It was there for RB. He grabbed his 2.
And yet Giacomo once more there to shut it down. And Giacomo's got his second showstopper of the map so far. We're only in round 5. I mean, it's the end of round 4 by the time he gets the ult online. Look at this setup, by the way. Just want to point this out. The turret holds contact, and it is so common for attacking teams to use a flash there and go, and your first player in is pre-aiming the turret positions. And the way that EG like to play that spot is having Demon 1 as the turret behind the turret, the one who actually gets the kills. So as Foxy9 peaks, his pre-aim is towards where common turret positions are going to be. He's not expecting a player to be challenging. And Demon 1, Boostio, both set up to try and actually take that fight. I think already, one of the reasons why I'm so impressed with EG, as we see DRX take a timeout, is the prep work that they do. Because even if it's not specific anti-stratting, they are so prepared. The level of structure that they have in this team and the thought that they put into every small fight is there. I would be very surprised if EG don't continue to put a lot of tree pressure, because it denies where Mako wants to play the post plants from. It's really good against the B split exec that DRX do, and it's very good at denying that post plant positioning after the A split. I just think EG have come out with a really nice game plan that Termi's going to have to adjust to.
That's what this timeout is for. Maybe even to settle the mindset a little bit here for DRX, because honestly, it's been a very similar approach almost every single round for DRX so far. Leading into that B split, they haven't really explored towards A too much. They're going for this 1-4 split again. Buzz on the north side is going to be having to play safe here. It looks like there's not going to be too much attempt of an aggression. Ethan might be flashing off the rip over the top, it looks like as well. Just a bit of utility use at the beginning of the deep smoke. Horn's broken. They set their sights over towards Arcade. Big ults here as well.
Yeah, and a slow approach for the first time. Might make EG wonder what's up. Giacomo's got his showstopper online though, and that is really going to cause a problem for DRX potentially. I've got to point out again though, DRX have still been able to get a buy here. They're going for the light armor strategy, and they've been able to buy round 3, round 4, round 5. It's gross, isn't it?
Well, here we go, Nightfall. Scattered over towards the side. Ethan, nade at his back. Prowler as well in his face. Didn't stand a chance. There's a showstopper. Unleashed this way, that way. Satchel's going all over the bloody place. Cannot find a target. No sound cues. He's caught with the ult, finally fades, pre-fires it, does not find a target, and doesn't even expect them to be on the site. It's Giacomo, who's unaware, inside the smokes though. So the 3v4, a bit of spam again with the Phantom. Landing those shots, lineups now being played from Buzz.
And here's the issue, Mako with Molly, with Orbital Strike. Look at how few DRX players have guns out ready to take fights. They're all playing the post plant lineup.
The Orbital Strike has to be used for this lockdown, it has to be cleared out there, but again, the post plants. Again, these deep lineups, Foxy9, what a shot to hit Boostio. Instantly returns the fire, they know where Mako is. That's absolutely disgusting. Diffuse starting to get stuck. That nanoswarm's going to take some time to hit. That's half on the diffuse already. It's bought them time. It's a critical one. Can Buzz still do it? Absolutely not.
They've got it.
In the face of Demon 1, this guy, he stands up to any sort of test that you're going to be throwing at him.
And EG here are perfectly showcasing how to abuse the way that DRX play these post-plant situations. One of the issues that people were talking about when Zest was in the lineup was them playing very formulaically. I don't think it actually matters which lineup they use. DRX are always going to try and drop back into these extremely static, passive post-plant lineup situations on Fracture. Their economy finally broken now, but you can see EG are just ready to try and fight those 1v1s towards the end of the round. They know that DRX are not going to be in spots to trade for each other.
Now on a halfway, we finally start to see it a bit fast. With the play here, the tempo's increased. Dart over the top. Foxy9's lit up, he's scared, he's worried, he's going to get spammed as a nade at his feet. Slaughter right now, and a flood attempt as well. The call is made by EG. They want to take it straight to them, yet Mako returns with a fire. The Sheriff doing so much work.
As does the Shock. But this is a 2v4 where Buzz and RB have been able to pick up weaponry.
They immediately retreat back to halls as well. Still maintaining that drop control. Buzz doesn't actually have any nanoswarms to play the lineups from that position.
Oh, he's so far away, isn't he?
Clearing out the side here, Com, making sure that everything's watched for. There's going to be that rotation here. Showstopper straight across. Com didn't really stand a chance there. There's a molly as well that was sent in flying ahead of time. It's going to remove any sort of potential for a clutch.
What a bounce back.
Yeah, Boostio was fantastic, don't get me wrong, in a prize series, but that's an impossible task even for him.
Yeah, so DRX, they take their Thrifty, they go for their normal A exec where it goes through sand, and we see a couple of different ideas from EG on how they want to defend this. EG blast pack up, Jorgamo into sight, and he ends up missing, getting taken out by some fantastic sheriff shots from DRX. And perhaps EG are going to have to adjust how they run the A split, but that would give me a lot of confidence as DRX to just start running the A exec over and over.
Look towards it. So Stimmy with the drone.
Southside crunch on the Thrifty.
And the stun connects. That fault line is huge. Here's the rolling thunder. Right through them into the face. Jorgamo is not messing around. He wants the action. He wants the smoke. They still know where the last player is. Ethan aftershot towards the side. Boostio, he supplements. That tight squeeze, everybody has fallen. And Buzz, the only reason he's still alive, he's well away from the action on the north side of the map. Let's see if he can do it again. The triple face will deny any chances. A Thrifty, that's back-to-back from either team.
Incredible stuff. Love the idea from EG. You know, some fans are asking me, you know, how does 100 Thieves make it to Tokyo? Well, one of their strats has made it there. The Southside Crunch coming out. Lovely stuff to see. We've seen a couple of teams in the Americas pull this one. It seems very unconventional, but with the combination of all of your utility, it can be extremely oppressive to play against. And I think this match in general on Fracture is a clash between two styles. Two really big, very different styles. The Des talked about it a little bit with Com's Sova. Also the fade on the other side, the amount of north and south side crunches that are going to happen.
Look at that, you're already seeing some form of adjustments. They know that DRX have been going into these B splits. They have given up a bit of tree control. That's why Fox is on that line. Lockdown's going to be used. Anything to try and break this one. That's an aftershock. Shock darts?
They missed the shocks.
Yeah. Is the goal there? I'm not too sure what the goal of that one is. Not sure how they would even land, but it means that 3 players are detained. They thought that was going to be cleared out here. Straight into tower. Easy pickings. Skipping a hop, but you will not escape the sightlines. Easiest kills of RB's life.
I'd love to see that from Com's POV, because I don't know where he was even trying to, you know, fire the shock darts from, but they were clearly intended to land there.
Yeah.
That must be very precise.
But here we go. Running away onto the side to realize the time is of the essence. Satchel. Busha couldn't land a clean shot. Aim wasn't reset. All this Yuto being used as well. Didn't even one out in the open. Up to just Ethan. Not a winnable round ahead of him. Not when he's up against the Rolling Thunder. At this point, just got to back away and save. But yeah, it would be interesting to see what went wrong there, because
that's
EG
literally
were purely
what
set up.
The round.
Yeah, I mean, they were purely set up thinking that, okay, they're going to lock down. We've got some sort of plan for it, but
yeah. And there are a couple of very small positional adjustments you can make with your lockdown in tunnel, depending on whether you want to tuck it into the corner or not. But all right, so here's Com, just stuck towards the end. Yeah, this is him getting caught towards the end. I mean, he's already used his shocks at this point, and he just gets stuck inside tower. Poor guy. Easy pickings for RB though, farming it up. That's going to help for DRX.
Not really replicatable though, is it, DRX?
Not until they
bank on the misplay a little bit.
Yeah,
so.
Not until they have a whole other lockdown on charge.
Yeah, but the A split did work fast. Last time the DRX attempted this on their half pie. This time it's really quite tepid. Slow at the beginning.
But I like this. The slower and more contacty you make the beginning of this, the less timing you give EG to push tree as a reaction.
Well, they want to try and fight though. Prowler out. Drone to set it up. Fault line as well. Already working their way through. Lit up. It's going to be the kills returned. Ethan making the most of that one there. Flash in his face. Boostier's got back away. There's a Rolling Thunder. He's locked up, yet stunned up. Still lands the kill. Bullet to the cranium. Hunter's Fury to supplement and help out in the back. Players can start to swarm this one. It's a 2 versus 2. Spike picked up. Nade to deny, and another showstopper in the back pocket. There's a shock dart, or at least the recon. And there's a showstopper. Rocketing forwards. Blitzering pace. Jorgamo to clean it up.
Big play from Jorgamo there too, but to me, it's Boostio that's the hero of the round, as he was in the game against Foot. There you see him scratching the back of his head, wondering whether, yeah, we played that pretty well. I got a couple of kills while I was stunned up. I mean, that one on Stax is a round changer.
Oh, yeah.
Stax is able to get in. But it's the combo of utility. It's very good breach utility as they come through. There's a Hunter's Fury there, putting enormous amounts of pressure on the people coming into sight. And EG are trying to flood defend A. Very different idea compared to how they're defending B by getting those retakes off, challenging other areas. EG are really trying to wait until DRX have thrown those smokes and then pile through them with Breach and Sova util. And this is the thing, DRX are just going to run the same kind of execs over and over. They're not a team that changes very much. That's been a major criticism of them.
There's not much nuance in their playbook. That's what we were hoping to see, I think, heading into this tournament, and you have to be ready for this. Lit up onto the ropes. Will you be able to get out a satchel? You will not escape Jorgavo's sights.
And this time, EG are not set up to be able to flood defend A because they went for that play over towards Dish. So now we're going to see a different application of the defense. Mako, with his orbital strike and with his molly, can't be pressured. There's nobody pushing tree. So this is a really good setup for DRX right now.
Should be in theory. Here's a lockdown.
Orbital strike can get rid of that.
But I don't think they even want to. Everybody's playing offside. They do. They still opt to be using this one. It's a wide face there. Foxy9, he was alone onto the site. He's taken out early enough. A tap onto it. Spikes there. Aftershock round the corner, round the side, facing RB. Man of the hour. Reattempt, reaggress right here. Com sticking his half right through the molly. He's bought a lifeline. It's still shut down. Team in one. Not able to grasp it.
Stax with the clutch at the end. And you can see they were still getting contested. That push through door put a lot of pressure on DRX. They also forced out the orbital strike early, so it couldn't just be used on the plant. But here's that molly. Mako uncontested, no flank on the retake. And in the end, even after Com got half, it came down to this 1v1. Whoever won it would have been able to secure the round. Stax comes through big for his team. That's only his third kill of the map so far, but he wins his team a whole round off the back of it and knocks EG down onto an eco.
You can feel how scared DRX are. Dump a bit of the same utility, familiar kind of beginning to a round there, but Foxy9 was pre-aiming where the dart was last time. They're really quite concerned of being crunched. I do like the approach though. Slow default, over the ropes though. RB is going to be rejoining the rest of his team, so they were just hoping for a bit of aggression when EG's on that half bite.
Which makes sense. EG went for a crunch last time, south side. And now at the minute mark, DRX are going to start to group up and go towards somewhere. Foxy9 and RB are 2 away. Look at the timing, though, that EG are taking. Similar kind of timing. 1 minute on the clock, they go and clear out an area. So this is just an info play. DRX, though, should be able to take a sight off the back of this. They might be too slow. Nevertheless, the economy advantage should win them this round, but they are going into 5.
Yeah, they are going into 5. The read is there from EG, or away push through. Nade gets them in, double satchel. Shorty in his hands, but he's right up in the air. Easily shot right out of the skies. Making sure to contain all the smokes as well. That flood attempt was put down in a moment's notice. Smoke fades away, but okay. No kills to be had.
Com is going to feed himself into the maw at some point. But it gives us a little bit of downtime here. Coming into the half, I'm sure both coaches are going to have a lot to say in terms of helping their teams reinforce the situation. Termi's already used one of his timeouts, remember? And I think just in general, the coaching clash is so interesting to me, Brent, because there's been a lot of conversation with the Pacific fans about how Termi's managed his timeouts and the selection of rosters that they put into the game and how tumultuous everything seems on the DRX side. And all of that comes from Termi, and the coaching staff that spreads out further than him. And on the other side, you have Potter, whose timeouts have been extremely impactful whenever EG have needed them, and has also built, changed the roster in a way that propelled the team to success and has added a lot of good structure. She's now going to be taking a tag timeout to talk with the rest of the team as EG pause. But I do think that the arc or the ascension and descension of these coaches are on very different pathways at the moment. And I think that's one of the big things that Termi's got to figure out in order to have a chance to win this tournament.
So far, DRX have been making quite nice adjustments. That's why you're seeing the timeout forced by EG.
Not exactly sure how Stax and Ono are related.
He really likes the word vamos.
Yeah.
He really likes Ono when he
does,
pumps
yes.
his fist and says vamos.
Yeah,
So,
right.
yeah.
I forgot about that connection, but you're absolutely correct. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, the vibes overall for DRX, I mean, on the topic of it, you know, it's been rumors swirling around this DRX team in terms of what roster they're running, you know, talk of potential burnout as well, like, you know, not really feeling it heading into the tournament ahead of time. This match is really a chance to dissuade a lot of that and try and get some confidence back overall.
Yeah.
But I will say, you know, you look at Stax, I don't think I've ever seen him this stressed early on in a tournament.
Yeah.
Too many smiles, not too much joyous whimsy. It's been yeah, quite stern.
There's got to be a lot of pressure on him as the IGL to try and figure out a system when it's constantly changing underneath him.
Exactly.
And not just that, I think he's individually struggled at times, you know, in their games against HyperX domestically, to be able to get a good read on how to punish that team while they're on such a run. So yeah, tough times. But DRX are coming into the final round here with two big ultimates to work with. The Fade ult was incredibly useful last time at being able to put pressure on the side anchors, although they took a B.
Showstopper. What an increase all the way through. Let's see if Foxy9 can get any value. Nade, rebounds, flash to try and push it back. He fires it off. Jorgamo.
Ethan's flash.
Oh, it's a random spam. It's a random spray all the way through. What a lead going straight through an exchange as well. Of bullets, a flash as well to try and push through, and it's a 3-2-1 swing into the smoke. Lit up though. Jorgamo can't hear anything, doesn't know that his position is being swarmed, and there we go, it's covered. Com round the back, and just like that, blink of an eye. That's the last round of this first half, it's over.
So interesting the way that they were playing like a flanky retake play over towards B and then a hard anchor defense on A. The initiator utility, immaculate from Ethan, from Com. I mean, there's a flash there to be able to completely blind Foxy9. All the rest of the breach utility gets used to stop them coming through, and then there's a dart on the wall to help support Jorgamo. It's all beautiful from EG, and they go up 8-4 at the half.
Finally adapting as well to a lot of that pace that DRX were throwing towards into the A side as well, so back and forth. It's an 8-4 half that we find ourselves in, sitting at here with EG leading so far for Fracture. Quite an interesting one. Let's find out what the desk has to say and break it all down so far.
Thank you very much, guys. What a great half of Valorant. Just good.
Just
Yeah.
good.
Good.
I think it was a masterclass.
So
from
good.
EG, honestly, it's interesting to see the differences in utility here. DRX, they don't want to use much because they rely on the post plant. And EG are happy to burn up the layering of like the flashes and the darts,
Yeah.
and putting them in so many different positions as well. Early round to find first bloods, but then supporting their sight anchors as well. It's actually so beautiful to watch.
And if it's not a dart coming in, it's also Jorgamo, who has been so proactive this map, be it in these early south side takes where he's fighting off of a dart from Com to take space for the team, or if it's in the retakes where that dart and flash is coming in to support the side anchor, and he's the added layer to that that's helping to win these rounds for his team. And on top of that, I mean, he's just individually winning rounds in ridiculous fashion. This is a guy who we don't get to see on the Rays much anymore. He's been role swapped over the controller, but you can't forget, this guy was like considered by many like one of the best Rays players in North America, and he's showing it here on the international stage.
Yeah, absolutely. It popping off in this first half, and it put EG in so many good positions to close out rounds. We were talking about DRX's ability to flip 4v5s. I think it actually even came, that first post plant came with the, I think round 6, right, with the 2 sheriff kills from Marco on A side. That was about it. That was, from the first few rounds, the only positive that DRX could pull.
Yeah, now heading into this second half, DRX is good on attack. You can see it's about 50-50 on this one, but with the, or excuse me, on their defensive side as well. But with this composition, you don't have quite as many tools to support your side anchors, and you're going to have to be playing the retake a lot more. The thing to look out for, though, in my opinion, is how Stax and RP are combining their utility. Can they get similar value with this fade, with the flash starts to scan as EG's executing?
Yeah, I think actually it comes back to the conversation we were having earlier, right? What can Foxy9 deliver here in the second half alongside that supportive utility he does have?
I mean, let's see what they can do, because if they don't, then they're going to be losing one map down already in this very crucial game and be dethroned off the group stage Goliath. So I don't know what's going to happen, you guys, but let's send it back to Josh and Bren and find out.
That's an excellent point, really. I mean, it's not often that DRX end up losing in the group stage as well. I brought up in our game yesterday, Josh, you know, they've lost 2 matches in their group stage international appearances ever. That's out of 10 currently played.
Yeah.
Which means they got an 80% win rate.
That's not
quick
bad.
maths right there. Quick maths. 80% win rate in the groups. And it's not a great start, don't get me wrong here. EG have clearly come out well-versed, well-prepped. The map pool is actually kind of shaken out quite nicely for both of these teams in the theory of it, but it's EG who have the lead.
It's a must-win pistol round, I think, for DRX.
Yeah.
You know, normally when they get the success on this map, I think about it being potent on the attack side. Although we were talking, even when we were casting them against ASE, that their defense side against DFM was really good.
Waves of the utility being used as well to try and take this tower control, but they're all grouped up in there. Could be cause for concern because they're all grouped up. And a right click is tearing them to pieces. Buzz having a field day, but from behind, Ethan, he does help them out. Close to Jenny, they get themselves onto the site, and they do have relatively decent post plan. I believe this is a reflank attempt by Com to the back of tunnel. He's going to be meeting, Foxy9. So wins out that fight, a critical one here for DRX. It's evened it up into a 2 versus 2.
And now I think they should have a good idea about where RB is, that it was a double flank. However, you can't be completely sure of that. Foxy9's got good utility as well to stop anybody peeking from tower that could potentially isolate a 1v1 on site. Winnable for both sides here.
Look at this, Aftershock still available. Is it in a position where he can really use it? Tap onto it, gets some off, it's a swing into the one-on-one. RB sticking, he gets his half, jump spot, gets him off a tap, it forces the fight from Ethan again. How does he want to play this one? Around to the sides, and there it is! 4 for Ethan. This guy has been an absolute menace to any team that goes up against EG. The latter half of the regular season in Americas, throughout all of playoffs, he's been reaching new heights.
He's been a rock. In terms of all of the utility and then crucial moments like this, Ethan is the rock that EG can rely on. You've heard Potter talk about it previously as well, how much his experience and communication means to them in the game. Boostio's also given him and Com both a lot of credit for helping with the mid-round. But yeah, that's really well played by both RB and him in the clutch there, but Ethan gets just a tiny outplay towards the end. And I think that's a nail in the coffin for DRX's chances on Fracture, barring something crazy happening.
It really should be. Pistol round was must win. 9-4, staring at a potential map loss here for DRX. At this point as well, usual game plan going to be to try and farm up some of these orbs. It's typically what they end up doing on the eco rounds of these Fracture maps that they play. Smokes drop down, that seems to be the go button. There it is, it's hit for EG. Taking onto the site. Buzz was potential nuisance there, just sitting himself down into Arcade, an attempt to disrupt as well and get the spike denied from the plant, but not too much really getting done, and this is looking very healthy. EG, if they don't lose anybody, it's a fantastic anti-eco.
Yeah, very clean, extremely clean. Building up towards some ultimates, but none massively online for the bonus round. Nevertheless, I think you can see that they're also aware of the way that DRX want to defend B. The main way that DRX are going to defend B is by having one player hard anchor around Dice or around Tower, and then Stax and Mako are going to find timing to push through the smoke, like that. And even though Stax only has a pistol in that situation, I think, you know, that's something that EG have to be very aware of. DRX have caught timings against a plethora of teams, including Attacking Soul Esports, where we saw them get the win yesterday.
There it is, boatload of utility. Send flying, arcing right over towards drop, so control of that's going to be gained now for EG. And talking about the health of their economy as well, I mean, there's so much danger in this round, even still for DRX. Up against this bonus, rifle in the hands of Jorgamo, Guardian for Demon 1, we know what this guy can do with it. Destructive. There it is, drone to lead it in. That's an aftershock, used to disrupt it, just pound for pound using the util, but they waited out. There's a couple of layers to it. Caesar's nice, that's delayed a little bit.
But they're just baiting out this defensive utility, and now this second wave is going to be where they commit.
Still have the nade. Flash to accompany. It's all combined together. Doesn't actually connect there. Satchel, the movement. It is nice, but RB was ready as well to contain. Stacks from the side, all the way through spawn. A fight to be taken. Boostio! Landing 2. He spots the third, and Demon 1 has also got his sight set on him. They know exactly where he is, but the movement is quite gorgeous. Foxy9. Just a little jiggle out to the side with 4 bullets left in the rifle. A reload risked. Doesn't know where Buzz is. Thinks that the position could be anywhere with 30 seconds into the round. Spike out into the open. Not a lot of health to work with. Needs to force an early fight.
Now that Boostio's gone silent for so long, Buzz was worried he went up.
Okay, spike gained, 15 seconds though. Is he really going to try and pivot? Is he going to clear this corner? No, knife has to be out as well if he was to make that timing. And so it's a gamble in the 1v2. But DRX, they do win their buy round. They stop that bonus from really getting away with too much.
Yeah. EG with worse weaponry for sure, and still a good attack idea. The utility and the way that Jorgamo entries onto this site is dangerous, it's difficult to work with, and DRX had a decent answer. They didn't use all of their utility, just to fend off the first few probes. And now there's going to be an armor difference, but we know that that doesn't make too much of a change in terms of how teams play. I'm looking towards Boostio because he's only one away from that lockdown. Of course, Ethan one away also from the Rolling Thunder, so that depends which one you particularly want to prioritize.
Shock dart.
It's going to be Ethan.
Yeah, Nanos almost broken, I believe, off of the initial load of utility sent flying. Look how active Boostio is here. You don't see Killjoy players do that often. It is an active, yeah. I mean, DRX trying to take the fight straight out of halls. Got my eyes locked onto the minimap. I'm trying to take your role.
Yeah, so that was fended off. Foxy9 goes down. And now, with the space on the map that Boostio's got, as you mentioned earlier, that's going to allow EG to go through the rope and back over to him. They can set up for some kind of north side push.
Yeah.
It looks like Ethan's going to try and ult them into the players or something. I mean, Ethan's going to be asked to do quite a lot here. Both of the breaches battling in A main.
Jump spot, a chance. Okay, all committed. New Stacks was there, there's a dart at his back. The aftershock slowed to a crawl. Smoke dropped down as well, it's cut it all the way up. Another stun to supplement and swing through. Fight to be taken this way, that way. Evacuation and shots rattled off.
That is immaculate from EG. I mean, what a play. How creative is that? Find a player at door, breach ult them, Sova dart them. You've got Jorgamo coming through on one side, Ethan on the other. This team's creativity is unbelievable. You think historically, it's DRX that we've discussed as the team that creates set plays. How many teams have a strat called Vision Strikers or DRX? Almost all of them.
Yeah.
And yet, in terms of the creativity and the set plays, we're watching them get outdone.
He just worked it.
Dude, Stacks not only got breach ulted, he also then got fault locked afterwards.
Aftershock used.
He's got no chance.
He couldn't stand still.
I almost hit a spray closet.
And they're vibing.
Yeah, spirits are high.
Definitely.
Forcing the timeout. The last one here for DRX. It's 11-5 on this map here of Fracture. That's the evolution of this EG team. I mean, they come in with these really excellent ideas. And I said this before as well in Americas when we were watching a team like EG. What point does a gimmick comp just become the meta? What point does it no longer be a joke?
Oh.
It's when it starts winning, and EG have got a lot of success. There's a lot of evidence behind them in terms of this Fracture comp. They have so many ideas, twists and turns. The playbook runs deep.
And think about how DRX were winning Fracture yesterday against Attack and Soul. Even though they were getting pushed and they ended up winning 13-10, it was actually individual huge moments that were carrying them through. We had Mako going crazy on Fracture, for example. There is no way that an individual can outplay the waves of utility that are cascading into you on a set strat like that. EG are just almost guaranteed to be able to get a player advantage or get their way into sight. It's oppressive. And it makes it very hard for the individual brilliance on DRX to shine through.
It's left the team reeling, looking for answers.
EG making sure that they control any level of tree aggression early on there. That's why they have a slow pace to begin, but this is just going to be a Killjoy ult play. Alarm bot first to make sure nobody was flanking through Arcade. And this would be extremely effective against somebody like Buzz, who's been anchoring tower a lot. But DRX have read it and they're playing off-site.
Fully away out of it. Fault line Hunters Fury right in the gap of where they were going to be standing. I tell you, man, this playbook you print out, you'd be weighing down the desk.
It's so deep, it's so good.
Just those extra elements that they throw in. You think it's going to be standard, not quite at all.
Oh, I like that though.
Just a nade to try and clear out tower. Satchel, the movement's quite nice, but again, another nade to push it back, so Foxy9 can't quite swing onto this. Fights taken, tower cleared out. Job might be done there, but do they have enough to try and disrupt this post plant setup again? A taste of their own medicine. There's an aftershock waiting underneath tunnel. Find him a couple of seconds, but a fight needs to be won out here. Com, Boostio playing together. Tap onto the spike. Boostio wins his. Fault line's really nice, and they want to take it to him. It's Boostio. Beams him down. Rifle in hand. Util to supplement.
A solid anti-eco puts EG up at map point. And this match, or map, has been a nerd's delight. There's just so many cool things that are being showcased here against the DRX that's playing their standard game. We've heard those high-pitched Boostio excitement noises quite a lot so far this tournament. They've only played 2 matches, 1.5.
We're breaking a mic.
All right, can DRX pull something out here? The 7-round deficit would be so difficult.
Fault line held. It's an orbital strike! Oh, it's all combined. The nade as well. You try and get out of harm's reach.
No one even used a rifle.
Yeah, not likely, man. They're playing a different game.
They are. I mean, this is the Valorant of the future.
Yeah, Project A, blah, 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 whatever it is. Stimmy, drop down. Let's finish this. That's what EG is saying.
Now Giacomo's going to have a showstopper online.
Yeah, and here it is. Just a snowball. The ult's rotating behind Dice, though. Not cleared, and Buzz, he does put that down. Mako, smoke to help out his teammate. Aftershock misses, doesn't clear it, in and out, weaving this way, that way. Buzz, can he get a little bit more? He can. Straight through. Jenny's watched for. Brings down 3. Doesn't find Demon 1, though. Before he can get any much else going, RB left alone to do the most. He's brought it to a one-on-one. Nightfall. It's there. Dodge, though. Demon 1 not tagged by it. Spots it out. 35 seconds. This is to stay in the map. Demon 1.
30
this guy
seconds
really
left.
is the final boss. Don't want to be going up against him. Grabs the spike. Seconds left in the round. Take his time ever so slightly.
RB has been the clutch monster in Pacific this year.
Spike planted.
Man stuck. Where's the positioning? Where's it coming from? Demon 1 stuck into the corner. Peeks it wide. A jiggle. Forces it. He knows where RB is. RB. Pressure mounting. Can he do it? Wider face. Wider swing. Really being tested. Challenged this way, that way. Haunts up in 5, but really does he even have time to spare? He doesn't. And just like that, map 1 in the books, wrapped up. A pretty bow on it for EG.
A great way for it to finish with Demon 1 tap. That's the kind of aim style that he has. But it doesn't really get demonstrated when EG absolutely outplay their opponents in terms of the utility and the set plays, the ideas that they have. I mean, this was destructive, absolutely. And I'm thinking back to a quote that Buzz had in the press conference where he said, in the grand finals against HyperX, they exposed our weaknesses in the map pool and our play style. And I feel like, well, he had said they'd made some adjustments to try and shore that up, but this map to me feels very similar. They're targeting the weaknesses of DRX's map pool, even though it's a map that DRX like. It looks weak in terms of like international caliber of play. And also the play style, targeting that post-plant play, that exec-heavy stuff. Just a masterclass, absolute masterclass from EG.
Top to bottom, man. So many ideas being thrown out, the right adjustments. 13-5 versus DRX. If you're a casual fan as well, you've been watching this one, you're probably left wondering, hang about, what's going on here? DRX that have been so strong in these groups going up against EG. But listen, it's a rude awakening to anybody who's unaware of this squad because they have been making waves in Americas and looking to do the same at Tokyo.
And I think they've got a great chance of doing it, honestly.
One enemy remaining.
This map pool coming up, we've got some great ones. Ascent, Pearl. The Pearl's been looking a little bit shaky for DRX, despite the fact that they've been winning on it in Pacific. Ascent, though, should be an absolute banger. That's where we're really going to see those rookie players unleashed. The Foxy 9 Demon 1 battle. I am stoked for map 2.
Yeah, that is going to be fantastic. It's a map that DRX, they've made great adjustments on. Listen, it's been back and forth. They're stronger ones as well. Should be shaping up to be quite a series.
If this one was a tactical dream, the next one is just going to be brutal.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for map number 1. Send it to a short break on the other side of it. Des breaks it all down. You don't want to go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Oh my God, I'm so scared.
This is Sadie. She's on Verizon, and she has the new My Plan, where she gets exactly what she wants and only pays for what she needs. She picks only the perks she wants and saves on every one, all with an incredible new iPhone. Get iPhone 14 Pro on us when you switch. It's your Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.